When I was in Perth last year, one of the things I was interested in was the construction of this new shared path along the South Perth foreshore. Now, construction started in, I'm not sure, November, December, and it wasn't completed before I left and went back to Sydney for Christmas. But when I got here last week, I thought this would be one of the first things I'd go and have a look at because I wanted to see if it was completed. And I shot quite a bit of video of it while I was here, just showing how the foundations were laid, how wide the path was, how it was laid out, how they rolled it, what sort of crushed limestone they used, all those sorts of things. Just useful stuff, I guess, to bring back to New South Wales as far as construction techniques go, because, from my perspective as a cyclist, it seems to work pretty well. So here's not my first ride, maybe my second ride going and having a look. The first day was wet, so the footage wasn't that great. But just for context, this is part of the loop that goes around the Swan River, and I'm underneath the Narrows Bridge. Over on my left, on the other side of the river, is the CBD. And most of the way around, there's high quality shared path like this. Some of it is up to, I guess, 50 years old. Now we're going to turn left here and cross the road, and this is where this new section of path begins. And yes, it's all complete. The fencing's down, the signage is all in place, the lane markings, everything is there as you'd expect to provide a new path to the quality standards that they have over here in WA. So yes, it's nice and wide, it's easy to find, it's lit, it's got concrete edging so the edges don't crumble if you drive vehicles over it for some reason, like mowing the lawns or driving maintenance trucks over it and that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's plenty wide enough because it has to handle both cycle traffic and pedestrian traffic. And believe me, on a nice day, it gets a heck of a lot of both around this area. I mean, it's just heaving with people on bicycles and on foot. And you might have seen from that jogger over to the left, there's actually another footpath over there that's exclusively for pedestrians. Now, then it finished, and the ramp that took me back onto the road wasn't that great. And I was left feeling a little bit underwhelmed by the whole experience. I thought, really, is that it? I mean, it's only a couple of 100 metres long, and I might as well stick to the road. And look, I've now ridden around here, I don't know, maybe 5 times, and I've gone on the path a couple of times, and I've used the road a couple of times. And I'm pretty much thinking, unless the traffic's really, really busy, I'm just going to stick to the road. Because it's a fairly short distance. There's not a lot of traffic on it. The drivers along here are usually pretty relaxed. They don't give you any grief because they're used to seeing a lot of cyclists on the road, and it's a dead end anyway. It finishes at this car park, and that's that. Anyway, there we are back on the shared path which goes around the rest of the river. So yeah, just for a bit of context here, you can do a number of loops around the river. You can do causeway to the Narrows, or you can go further around to the Madagarrett Bridge, or you can go further up to a railway bridge, which is great. And almost all of it is on good shared paths. And then after a while I did some thinking and went, well, maybe I'm not the target market for that new section of path. Maybe the target market is what you see so much of over here, which is families with young kids who love to use the path. And by doing that upgrade there, families don't have to worry about their kids interacting with drivers on the road and that kind of thing. So from that perspective, yes, it's fantastic. If you think of it as being a family-friendly path, it's a great piece of work. If you're thinking of using it as a middle-aged bloke in lycra, maybe not so good. But yeah, it's also good to see that. Well, I guess if you think about it, the first time they probably built half a kilometre of path around the river, people would have gone, why are you bothering to do this? There's only half a kilometre of path, and where's the rest of it? Well, over the years, they've built a path all the way around, and it's now, a fantastic choice of 3 loops. So you got to start somewhere, and you lay down a bit of path one year, and you get some budget the next year, and you do the next section, the next section, the next section. Now, what about build quality? It's really good. It's nice and smooth. It's not like the Burn Avenue disaster that Canada Bay Council built last year. When I rode it in the wet, I could see there were some very slight undulations in it, and you can see when the path is wet, but they were so slight you could barely notice it. Now, one reason for staying on the road, obviously, is the section. This is the missing link, I guess you'd call it. It's an old style concrete path, not so comfortable, not wide enough, and that's a big issue when you've got pedestrian traffic on here. Is just trying to get around all the people on the path, and like I said, there can be tons of them. So it's good to see the new path is wider, and I'm guessing in the next couple of budget cycles maybe they'll have the money to rip this up and replace it with a good high quality path along here as well. The other reason I don't like this is there's a ferry wharf up here, and it's again a very popular place with families and kids, and it gets very crowded, and navigating through here on a bike on a weekend when there's people just going in all directions, coming off the ferry, going to the cafes, walking out of the cafes, kids running around because there's a playground and stuff. Yeah, not the best to ride through, and there's lots of obstructions near the edges of the path as well. So I generally avoid this and stick to the road. But if I was here with young kids, I'd certainly be on this path because we'd just be tootling along slowly. Just ignore my initial feelings of skepticism and being a little bit underwhelmed, and think, for the next generation, this is a really good investment, money well spent, and good to see it's happened. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they build out another section as well, just to improve that last little bit and have 100% of the path around the river being the best it can possibly be.